We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. Aristotle. If you want to change your life, you need to first change your habits, because we as humans are creatures of habit. When you wake up in the morning, you probably follow a certain routine, whether checking your email, checking your cell phone, drinking a glass of water, or getting some coffee. Throughout the day, you can count on other habits to occur as well, even if you're not fully aware of them. We think that we're making well-informed decisions, but we're not. Most of the things that occur throughout the day happen automatically without much thought at all. Habits run your life. And if you have bad habits, your life is going to suck. So if you want to change your life, you need to first change your habits. Fortunately, once you understand how habits work, you can change them with greater success. That's what this video is about: what habits are, why and how they form, and how to change them. So what are habits and why do we have habitual tendencies? Basically, our brains require a ton of energy, about 20% of the entire body's haul, and our brains have become very good at conserving energy and becoming more efficient. The brain isn't going to waste energy on something you do all the time. The cerebrum controls complex functions, and this is the part of the brain that is utilized when we first learn something new. When actions are performed repeatedly, they aren't controlled by the cerebrum anymore because that's inefficient. They're performed in another part of the brain called the basal ganglia. These actions have become habits and are performed with very little mental activity. When an activity makes it to the basal ganglia, it becomes a reaction instead of something you think about. Once an action is in the basal ganglia, it is difficult to dislodge, and that's why it's hard to kick a bad habit. And as Zig Ziglar says, all bad habits start slowly and gradually, and before you know you have the habit has you. Sometimes we decide we're going to make changes in our lifestyle, and we do make well thought out decisions, but they have trouble sticking because they're not habits. When you want to make a real change in your life, you have to make that behavior a habit first. So how do you turn a behavior into a habit? Let's talk about the habit loop. There are 3 components to the habit loop: the cue, the routine, and the reward. The cue is the trigger. For example, you drive by a certain restaurant. This cue, also known as a trigger, puts your brain into autopilot. You follow a routine, eating at the restaurant, in order to give you the reward, which is the tasty food that you love. The cues can be feelings or thoughts, or they can be external like the time of day or a picture. The routine is the next part of the habit loop. This is the behavior that you take once you've been triggered. This is the behavior that will lead to a reward. This can be emotional, such as getting nervous before a test, cognitive, or physical, like eating at the restaurant. The reward is why we do that particular routine. It can be physical, such as chocolate or sugar. It could be emotional, feeling happy, or it can be cognitive, hey, I learned something new. If the activity is something worth doing, we'll remember it and it becomes a habit. For an oversimplified habit loop, think of a dog. When I open a package and my dog recognizes the sound of a bag of treats, he runs over to the kitchen and sits down in order to get his reward. So now that you understand the habit loop itself, it's time to talk about the thing that we need to make the habit stick, which is a craving. When we start anticipating the reward, that's when the action will become a true habit. It will become automatic once the cue elicits a craving. Then you'll be willing to do the routine in order to get the reward. When you wake up and instantly crave coffee, you'll be in that habit loop every morning. Think of some of your habit loops. Think about your pets. Do they have certain habits they follow? So a really easy way to make some new habits is to tie it to an existing thing that you already do. For example, if you want to start drinking water every morning when you wake up, make your cue simply waking up. When you wake up, that's your cue to go drink water. The routine is drinking water. The reward is to feel good and be hydrated. I pretty much now do this on autopilot. I don't even think about it when I wake up. I just automatically go and get 2 glasses of water. This is called anchoring a new routine to an existing cue. Tying your new habit to an existing thing you do will make it much easier because you're building it into your existing daily routine. If you want to exercise daily, make it a habit to work out when you wake up in the morning or when you get home from work. It'll be tough at first, but if you keep doing it consistently, it'll just become a habit and you won't even have to think about it. You'll simply work out when you get home from work because it'll just be another habit. So that's a simple way to start a new habit. Now, changing old habits is a different story. Try and think of some of the bad habits that you have. Think of the cue, the routine, and then the reward. In order to change the bad habits, you have to replace the routine. Keep the same cue and reward, but simply replace the routine. This is the most effective way to change a habit. This is why many smokers quit successfully by chewing Nicorette gum. The cue is the same, but instead of smoking a cigarette, they chew gum as their new routine. The reward is still the same, it's the nicotine. You're simply inserting a new routine into an existing habit loop. This can still be difficult, which is why you need one more element in order to increase your chances for success. You need to believe that change is possible. You must believe that you can make the change and it'll be beneficial to your future. Consider using groups to help share experiences as well as make public commitments. For example, you're making a new habit to go to the gym. Your cue can be leaving work, the routine is exercising, and the reward is releasing those good endorphins throughout your body. You want to try and make your reward something short-term because in the exercising example, we all know the long-term benefits of exercising, but it's really hard to stick to because there's no immediate results. So when you think of a reward, try and keep it a short-term one to help you build the momentum and make it a habit. So try and use a short-term immediate reward as well as a long-term reward. So to make this habit loop even more powerful, believe that you can do it and also have a gym partner to hold you accountable and share experiences with. And let me touch on Keystone Habits real quick. A Keystone habit has ripple effects across all your other activities in life. Take exercising for example. When you make a habit to exercise, you start changing your eating and sleeping habits without even thinking about it. Many studies have shown that changing this one Keystone habit will help you eat healthier, perform better at work, etc. Identify the Keystone habit within yourself. If there was one habit that you could change that would impact the rest of your life, what would it be? If you really want to change your habits or create new ones, you'll have to take a good hard look at yourself. Analyze your daily actions. Pay attention to your daily routines. This is where journaling can help. Bringing awareness to your actions can be daunting, but it's worth the effort. So let's look at another example. Let's say someone wants to cut back on drinking. They can ask themselves, why do I drink? Well, their response might be that they go to the bar to drink when they're stressed. Stress is the cue, and going to the bar is the routine. So what's the reward? The reward is feeling relaxed and talking to friends. Okay, so how can we tackle this? The cue and the reward will be kept the same. What changes is the routine. Instead of going to the bar when you're stressed, find another way to get that reward. Meet your friends somewhere else to hang out and talk. This is the secret behind AA meetings and why it's been so successful. The cue is different for each individual who drinks, but the routine is going to a group meeting to discuss their experiences instead of drinking. The reward is socialization and group support. Investigating habit loops will force you to do some self-analyzing, which is a good thing. Analyzing why you do things and questioning your actions can have big impacts on your life. Find out which habits are serving you and which ones need to change. Come up with a list of habits you want to change and make a plan. And also, on that note, have a plan for your obstacles. Let's say you're trying to stop eating junk food so you can lose a couple pounds for the summer, and then the next day you walk into work and see a nice tasty dessert. Come up with a plan on how you'll handle such cases. Instead of eating the tasty dessert, have a healthy and tasty snack in your desk ready to go just in case. Or opt to go for a walk instead. It's tough at first, but eventually it won't take as much to resist these treats that sabotage your plans for weight loss. Have a plan to handle pain, stress, and temptation ahead of time. When you constantly use alternative plans, they become automatic habits. Now that you understand how habits work, you have the knowledge to change them. So some additional tips: start small and make it easy. Get some small wins under your belt to help build your momentum. If you have a goal to work out, just start with 10 minutes a day. You don't have to start with an hour, just start small. Use your willpower to install habits. Have a strong reason for why you want to start or change a habit. A strong why will help you push through the tough times. Embrace the process of starting a new habit. The first 20 days will be a little rough, but stick with it and you won't be able to quit that new habit after 20 days. Get through the suck. Alright guys, that's it. Go out there and start making some new habits. If you liked the video, please thumbs up and subscribe.